righty. Hello, everyone. And, welcome. Welcome to a late starting Tea with G. I hope you all have your beverage of choice. Get by the camera. I have two today. Kind of a, it's not a smoothie, but it's got all sorts of stuff in it. Hello, 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 hello. I just noticed Brent's comment about it doesn't feel right without a tea with G, but things just kind of backed up last week, and I couldn't make everything work, and a lot of practical stuff had to happen, as it did today. I had to push it off for a half hour, but I was up early on my bicycle and buzzing around to do the errands that needed to get done. See, I rearranged the background a bit. I actually got a comment from somebody that missed all the really nice. What I got on my weird looking, all the nice backgrounds I used to have. And the truth is, it's so hard. It just took a lot of energy to set it up and take it down and move things because it requires a computer and all that. And so I was just being a bit lazy, but I'm going to try some new things to see if I can cheer up the background a bit and not make it so gloomy, as they put it. 'Cause I tended to agree. It's not my favorite. So, remember that in satsang, it is a communion, an association, a connection. On the surface, it appears to be between a student and a teacher, but what it really is, deep in the heart, is a communication with you and your true self. Remember, every question you have that comes up, especially if it's a question about how to go free, how to be truly free, it's answered. The question is posed to and answered by the truth of you. That at best, the teacher representing that can only point you back to that. But the answer is always coming from you. It doesn't seem that way. But it only doesn't seem that way because of our identification with the sense of a separate self. That's the only reason. If we were not identified with the person, a personal sense, this functioning human being, which is really nothing but the functioning of conditioning and life itself, then there would be no sense of a disconnect which would require any questions at all, because you'd know who you are. The truth is, and always has been, you are free. When I say something like focusing your attention on going free, it's really not quite accurate. It's really about recognizing where we have inadvertently identified with that which is bound up. The sense of a personal self, personal identity, or just the person, which is a good name for the ego or personal sense. It's just the person you think you are. Their nature is bondage. They are, because they're nothing more. The person is nothing more than the idea of a self projected upon conditioning. It's like with AI now, projecting a sense of sentience and being onto that which is just a function. At some point in the future, there will be robots that are so lifelike, you won't be able to tell them from humans. The AI is getting so good now with music and with other things, in the way it puts things together, that it's getting harder and harder and harder to be able to tell whether it's AI or not. But the fact of the matter is, there's nobody there. It is just functioning. Now, we will project on the robots and AI sentience. Many people already have. Right? There's several people who've even gained a little bit of notoriety by claiming that the AI they've developed is sentient, that is self-aware. There's a self there. The whole idea is based on the notion that you are nothing more than the functioning of this body-mind mechanism and life, and that consciousness is some little thing in there somewhere. Nobody's found it, and so far, all the tests have come back negative, and all the evidence that it isn't in there is actually quite overwhelming. But these ideas die slowly. Despite that, there's this sense that these insentient things are going to become sentient, are sentient. Well, the fact is, the sense of a person is exactly the same. It is a sense of a self, and a sentience, a self-aware entity that is made up of the functioning of the universe, carbon-based, a carbon-based, self-replicating, food processing biped, right? But there isn't sentience actually in the body. It's not a sentient entity. The sentience is coming from the consciousness, which is not in the body. It is not of the body. It was here before the body existed. It'll be here after this particular body phases itself out. The consciousness is actually you, and is the self. And through some strange mechanism I don't have time to go into now, that sense of self has been projected on that which is nothing but the manifestation of consciousness, giving it giving the sense that it is a self-existent entity, an objective thing out there that has consciousness in and of itself. No such thing exists. You are not that. You are not the body or mind or any of those things. And this is the great discovery. Yet the habit energy of identification with the functioning of the body, seeing a person in what is nothing but functioning, is in fact gone on for lifetimes. Lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And it's not you. And this is the great discovery. You all hear that, and something inside of you resonates with it, even though you don't fully understand it, even though that's still very active within you. But it resonates enough. Something inside recognizes that it's true, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be here. There's a lot of football on. It's a Sunday. There's lots of football watching. In fact, half the men who live in this place that I live are all downstairs watching the Seahawks game because it's Seattle. So there's football. There's all sorts of things. As you know, with all the football going on, the shopping is good because there's not as many people there. But you're here. You've chosen to be here. What it says is that now's the time for you. I don't know what went on in any past lives, but in this one, it is auspicious because something inside of you has woken up and said, I want freedom. I feel the sense of being bound. I don't know what I'm bound by. I don't know how, but for some reason, it feels that way, and I want to be free. It's alive and well in you all. And that's why you're here. And that's why I'm here. Because there's no other reason to be. This is the reason we take human lives, is to recognize this. And the reason I do this is because, well, it's a store with one product to offer. There's only one thing on the shelves here, and that is the inquiry into who you really are. Who are you really? Which is not who you think you are. This is the beautiful recognition that I invite you all to. Just that, all by itself. I'm not who I think I am, even though there are layers and layers of unconscious patterns and functioning that are operating as if I was this body-mind mechanism, which is why it gets confusing. Nonetheless, in my heart, I know there is a path to freedom. And you found it. I've tried a lot of different paths over the course of my life. And all have taken me to a certain place. But I count this life auspicious because in this life I managed to meet in person a true teacher. After a bit of an unconscious struggle that I was not aware of course that's what unconscious means, to truly surrender to that, to submit to that teaching, and find that it is the ultimate, the final step. This is the doorway. And you've all found your way here. I say that with the utmost of humility, because I tried all on my own to find it, and I couldn't. I kept flubbing. I was missing something really central. So, on that note, let me take a sip of my my homemade milk latte, and just kind of say hello to everyone. Pull out my little keyboard slider here so I can reach the trackpad and say hello to everyone. White shirt, have to be extra careful. All of you with white shirts and tea or coffee, be careful. Or grape juice or anything like that. All right. Hello, Brent. And doesn't feel right without tea with G. Rosario, love from Madrid. Thank you for the time with you. I also missed tea last week. Yeah, I'm always very reluctant to let go of it, but sometimes I just have to. Oh, sunny Vancouver, Washington for Marty Hale. There's Mary. There's Sevi Stacker. Oh, so good to see you. Good to see you. All's well after Milton. I trust you are recovering and those around you. There's Ava. Hello, hello. There's Mary and Ava saying hello. David Yeager. Good to see you. Hello, Hendrik. Georgie and Sangha. There's Anne. Hello, Anne. Wonderful. So glad you're in the self-inquiry Sangha that we have going, which is available to all of you. If you like, where I actually get to meet with people more on Zoom so we can actually interact much more deeply. Hello, Carl. Good to see you. And there's Huhulika, my young lady in India. There's Ava. Victoria. Hello, Victoria. That's, I believe, you're Mary's friend. Banks Fortnite. Love to you, too. Let's see. I'm back now. Had to walk my pup. Absolutely. First things first. Bank Z Fortnite. Dear G, is love the awareness of unity and oneness? Knowing everything to be the one spirit? And does this move the heart? What a beautiful question. Well, I always want to make sure that when I give an answer, that the answer is guiding you to look somewhere you haven't looked before, because it's really easy for us to pick up an answer. You can pick up words like the one spirit, unity, oneness, singularity, love. And we all have a sense of what it means, but we also have a definition. Just like we have a sense of ourselves in our minds, we have a concept of love. We have a concept of oneness. We have a concept of unity. What non-dual self-inquiry is about is going beyond the concept to the reality of it experienced as your very being. Now, just put your attention on your own sense of awareness. Everyone can do this. This just the sense of your own being. Now, our minds, the habit energy of our minds, isn't particularly happy about doing that. Not because it doesn't like you or trying to interfere or anything, but because when you look through the normal eyes of our perception at just the sense of being, there's nothing there to see. It's empty. It's void. When you try to understand awareness, our minds will picture all sorts of ideas about awareness. They're images of awareness. At first, that's fine, right? Because we're looking in the right direction. But it's just an image in the mind, isn't it? So it's also something that is being perceived. Often you'll hear it said that awareness is space-like. Of course, our minds have an idea of space, right? The final frontier, space, starships and planets and galaxies, and try to envision empty space. You can't actually do it. So just try to feel, not look, because you can't see anything, to look and recognize it as a fact that it's awareness that's aware of everything that's going on out here, right? All of that is appearing to your awareness. And even when something as subtle as awareness or space, that there's an image of it that gets presented by the mind. Thank you. Don't need you right now. And even that is being perceived, isn't it? In the awareness. But you can't actually picture awareness itself. You can't make a concept out of it. Even the word awareness is just a pointer. So just feel the fact that you are aware of even the subtlest things, like the concept of space or something, right? Now that's awareness, isn't it? And that's pure awareness. Now, if you just start with that, you don't have to put a thought around it or a concept. It's there, it's awareness, and you're there. Obviously, you are the awareness that's there, which is the first step towards grasping the reality of oneness and love. Because you're right, love is the awareness of unity and oneness, but it's more than that. It is kind of the aspect of the pure awareness itself. But just notice that there's awareness of even the subtlest things. And you, right? You're there too, because you're noticing that there's an awareness of it. Now, are there two awarenesses there? You and this other awareness? If so, then you are aware of this thing called awareness, which is then also something perceived, and we can put that aside because that's not you either, because you're looking at it. If you can see it, it can't be you. So, what's the distance or difference between you and awareness? Is there a difference or a distance between you and awareness? So, is awareness simply an attribute of you, in which case it's some kind of a thing? Or are you awareness aware of itself? A non-dual recognition. This is, my friends, the whole meaning behind the term non-duality. It is not esoteric. It's not abstract. It's not a lot of stuff you hear. It's this. It's the recognition that I am aware of awareness, but there can't be two. I am the awareness aware of itself. Not one thing aware of something else, but myself aware of myself through this mysterious thing of I just know. I just am. I am the awareness. Now, from the point of view of awareness, I'm getting to your question there. Banksy Fortnite. From there, just be there for a second. As best you can, right? Just don't have to fully grasp it. Unless somebody here has woken up, then let me know. Just sitting here now as self-awareness. Awareness as the self aware of itself. And look out onto the universe. Anything that would say other, that would say, I don't like it, I've got to like, I should like this is wrong, this is right, this is good, this is bad, would be just some kind of movement in consciousness, a movement of the mind that you are perceiving, right? So it isn't you, and it isn't yours. So no opinion about anything is yours. Which means whatever goes on in the entire universe is completely allowable, acceptable. You, as awareness, have already let it in, or it wouldn't appear at all. You have no preferences. You have no agenda. You have nothing against anything or anyone. That's love, isn't it? That's love. That's pure love. There's nothing rejected. And then you can take it one step further. If you can follow, I'll go. If you can't follow, fine. Just stay as the awareness. When something appears in awareness, is it arising outside somewhere, out in place, outside of the boundary of awareness and then popping into awareness? Or is it simply arising spontaneously out of nowhere, out of the awareness itself? Which means it is the awareness. It is the manifest consciousness, which is awareness aware of itself. Non-dual recognition of all creation. Well, I've just given you the whole thing. I don't know how long, not very long. You might want to go back and listen to this whole step-by-step thing over and over again. But it all starts with simply turning your attention towards the fact that you are aware, without trying to imagine what awareness is. Because we talk about awareness, or the love awareness, unity and oneness, we're talking as if it was a thing out there I am going to attain. In which case, you are now you're seeking, it's good, you're on the way, but you can spend many, many lifetimes doing that, because the recognition is not getting somewhere. It's realizing that you are that awareness, that everything is appearing to. And when you just try to say that with the mind, it will give you all the reasons why not and show you all sorts of pictures and the like. But is it not you who is aware? And are you and the awareness different? Or is awareness who you actually are? This, in a nutshell, is the path. So I hope that's meaningful for you all. Hope you got it. And if anywhere along that line I lost you, don't worry. Don't worry. That's just the mind going, I need more, I need more. No, you don't. You just, wherever you are, stay there, abide there, live there, embrace it. And the next opening will happen, I guarantee. Just everyone always gets exactly what they need. You will, out of this and any true teacher you listen to. So every question that gets answered is your question being answered. So, oh, great, 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 great. Sylvia, the north of Spain. Wow. Somebody else? Got a couple people in Madrid as well. Welcome. So good to see you, Sylvia. Again, I've seen you before, but really good to have you. Brent, you've helped me more than I could ever say find that doorway out of suffering. Eternally grateful for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Brent. I'm grateful for you. Yeah. It is gratitude. There are times when it hits me afresh exactly the magnitude of this gift that I have been given, that I share with you. And I just go, wow, wow. And so thank you. Sometimes I'll weep, just can't help it. It's just like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Pure grace, because nobody earns this. Nobody deserves it. You don't have to. Thank God. Nobody could earn it. Thanks, Brent. Hey, Lacey. Lacey, my man. So good to see you. Ella, I am here too in a white hoodie eating dark chocolate. Danger zone. Yeah, tell me about it. I did have a very faint coffee stain here. They managed to take it out. I was very, very happy. I thought I'd lost this shirt forever. Oh, there's CM in Moldova. Wonderful. EL, all the joy, GP. Thank you, L. Mary, can you speak on heart tempering at your own experience? Well, when you really turn your heart over to God or source energy or the self or pure awareness or Buddha nature, remember they're all names for the same thing, but they are names. Right? There's a lot of names for this. Unfortunately, sometimes the word God gets commandeered, really, by a particular cultural tradition that wants to justify the cultural tradition and turn what is temporary, try to turn something what is temporary into some kind of eternal law, which is just a power grab. And we're seeing it more than I've ever seen it before going on right now. But putting all of that aside, right? I mean, part of the deal is that we all got indoctrinated into that in some way. I grew up, even though I had exposure to other points of view, I grew up, with God as a person and me as a person and me trying to, at first be good enough to earn God. And of course, I didn't care at all about that. I was not interested. But then when I did become more committed to the spiritual path, I tried to become a really good person, right? Which is good. Nothing wrong with that, to become this sattvic person. I wasn't all that devotional because it was metaphysics and it was a lot of heady stuff. But I did put myself through a lot of deprivation and a lot of pain and suffering that was completely unnecessary, trying to do the impossible, which is to make a perfect human being. Throughout that entire time, there were these little flashes of the perfection that was already there. And when I would grasp that and I would work with it, the old habits would just come, and before I knew it, I was back into the old patterns. And some of these openings were spectacular. It was just, I was there. It was just, yeah. And, but there was enough sincerity. There was arrogance there as well. Yeah. There was pride and, and the like, pride in everything that I knew and the like. But there was enough sincerity there that grace was present. And so, as I've said before, Lord, thank you for this disastrous life. My projections and ambitions and aspirations, my idea of how this perfect life should look for me, never transpired, even looked like it was going to transpire. Very close calls. This is it. Finally, I've made it. And then crash. And like, because my heart had to be tempered, as you would say. My pride and the arrogance was there, had to be exposed and relinquished, let go, put into the hands of God. Because arrogance and that sort of thing, you can't even self-inquiry your way out of that. At least in my experience, it's got to be, Lord, I surrender to you. Thank you for not letting me have all those successes that I thought were going to do it for me. Thank you for all of that. But this happens not by choice. It's always happening. The experience you're having right now, Mary, everything you're going through, because there is a genuine, sincere desire for truth there. Even a tiny spark, even the head of an incense stick. That's small. It's all it takes to ignite the entire thing. That's all it takes. That degree of sincerity in the midst of ego and conditioning and false training and all sorts of things is enough. Grace is sitting there going, lighting some more. That was my experience. It was happening even when I was working against it. Because I had chosen it. I did want it. I was just misguided as to where to find it. But that sincerity, that earnestness is what will guide the way. And Muji once said it was like taking an ice cube and dropping it into warm water. Eventually, it just slowly melts. He says. But satsang is taking a blowtorch to the ice cube. It was very cute because then he said, maybe that's a little bit of a rough image, but the ice cube asked for it. Which you get to a certain point where the sincerity and experience now, you've touched it. You've found true teaching. You're vigilantly and diligently trying to try to embody it and see into it. There's a point at which you have consciously joined the process. So grace doesn't have to fight you all the time now. Pull the arrogance, the part of you that needs to be burned away. It doesn't have to do as much of that anymore because you're cooperating. You're coming to satsang. You're listening. You're asking. You're seeking. You're in it, and so the heart tempering can often happen without feeling extreme suffering anymore. Yeah, it'll happen. Suffering, you can't get around it. It's going to happen. But when a certain degree of humility and sincerity and surrender has kind of taken root in us, even the experience of suffering is something we go, oh, I'm suffering. I'm obviously identified somewhere. Please show me what I can let go of. Right? Lord, purge me of ego, merge me with you. And it's that kind of heart that opens to it. And then when arrogance or insincerity pops up, you kind of go, ooh, ouch. But you know what to do. You know what to do. You just, you lay it out there. Okay? And from there, from that place, the heart tempering, to go to the inquiry. Well, who's aware of that? Who's aware of even the sense of identification with this one who's arrogant? If you do that just from an intellectual understanding of non-duality, you'll become more arrogant. Oh, I see it now. It's just a movement in consciousness. But if it's coming from the heart, from that place that's been tempered, it's had its ass kicked around the block enough times that it's going, yes, I get it. Then that inquiry now has got devotion and heart and real love of truth. In which case it's like, I'm seeing that. Thank you for showing me. It is so subtle, this movement of the sense of a person wanting to take shape. This is what's been driving every single one of our lives. And to be living in the life in which you can see that is it's the biggest gift you can possibly get. Oh, even the impulse to identify is also being seen by me. This is the fulfillment of that prayer. Lord, purge me of ego, merge me with you. It's the fulfillment of it. To be. Because, you know, there's no... How close can you get to be one? It doesn't matter how close you get. There are two. But eventually, you disappear. And there is only God. There's only that. So hopefully, I'm drawing a clear picture of this flow, this wonderful flow of the energy between wisdom and compassion, between the absolute and the relative, between bhakti and jnana, between self-inquiry and self-surrender. Because you have to have both. And we don't when we first start. Let's be clear. Something inside wakes up, and there's the birth, you might say, of sincerity. It may have been cultivated over many lifetimes, but that birth of sincerity takes root and it starts to grow. And it grows into what you all who are here have become, because you wouldn't be here if it hadn't. Because we don't have anything on the shelves here to sell. I said before, this is a store with one product. Big store, one product. But it's free. Yeah, it's free. I hope that answers it for you, Mary. If it doesn't, I will see you on the Sangha on Wednesday. So, Jay, my man Jay, always a pleasure. There's Peter in Italy. Yeah, Ella, what a deep start. Oh, thank you, Ella. Savvy. I rarely wear white anymore because it never fails that when I do, I end up with coffee down the front of my shirt. Yes. Well, this is kind of my testing, because if there's something, still sticking around in me that I'm not seeing, that I need to get rid of, it's going to be coffee on my shirt or boiling hot soup on my lap. I prefer coffee on my shirt. Thank you very much. But if it's really a sticky one, yeah, I might need the boiling hot coffee. Bank Fortnite. When I hear spiritual teachers talk about awareness, it often sounds kind of dull to me. But when I experience or glimpse non-duality, it touches my heart and I tear up and start to hum blissfully. Yeah. Well, that's the awareness, isn't it? Right? You are seeing it. Right? When I experience a glimpse of non-duality, well, in non-duality, there's not two, is there? That's non-duality, glimpsing non-duality. That's the self, seeing the self. And yes, yes, it brings the tears, doesn't it? It's just like, my God, I'm home. I'm home. Yeah. Notice that the I that's experiencing that is not non-dual. Because the non-dual I, the conceptual I, the concept I can't experience it. It doesn't even know it exists. Of course, the concept I doesn't experience anything. It's just a concept. Thoughts have no feelings. They're insentient. They're like a robot. They don't feel anything. They talk about feelings, which are concepts of feelings. They don't actually have them. So you that is experiencing are the self. You are that aware. Were you not aware of that glimpse? Right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course I was. That was the true you touching, seeing the true you. And then the reaction that takes place and ripples through the human experience is the tears. That's love, my friend. That's the love we're talking about. That's it. You experience it there. Visit that place often. How do you do that? Really follow exactly how I guided you before. Right? But remember, you're just put your attention on the sense of your own being. That's where it starts. The simple sense of your own being. Want other guidance for that? Go Muji, the Just Be exercise. Go to YouTube, put Muji Just Be exercise, or he's got another one. It's called it used to be commitment to self, but now he just calls it the Just Be exercise. I do it all the time because he's my teacher. Right? Listen to your own teacher. And it's a beautiful guidance. I've got some for tapping that I even do with presence tapping, sneaking this into the back door for the tapping folks, because that's it. You eventually realize that the being you are becoming aware of is your own being, and it's not two. Right? And this is a very quick path. So wow, very good. Banksy fortnight. And hum blissfully. Yeah, I do find myself humming, talking, and for some reason, weirdly enough, I find myself talking in all sorts of different voices now. Either I'm going crazy, right? Many of you know I did voiceovers, character voices for video games, and commercials and radio and that sort of thing. Some of you I was on the very first release of Doom, which was the first of the whole new generation of video games back in the early 90s. I actually have a few voices on. Some of you may be young and gamer enough to know what that is. So, let's see. A bit confused by that. Love the white shirt on you. You are well. Thank you. I do like white and black. Or things I can actually see. Thanks, Bank Fortnite. Maybe because the illusion of separation is so painful, and being home is such relief and joy. I don't know. Well, it is painful, but here's the good thing, my friend. Oh my God. For most people, the illusion of separation, they're not feeling the pain because they're not aware of it enough yet. The very fact that you feel that pain of separation, and then when you taste the glimpse, and it's like on steroids now. It's like you can't forget it. But that's you're up in the ante. Grace is burning you a little bit. Say, look, this is where you've spent God knows how many lifetimes simply trying to make the illusion of separation be more comfortable. Look around. Isn't that what all this is about? Just the rampant materialism and consumerism and capitalism. And it's all about that. Trying to make your prison cell, well furnished. Right? Get an air conditioner in hell. But when you realize that it is hell, right, you're on the path. It's part of it. I know it's not the most pleasant part of it. The glimpses are, and we don't want to let go of them. Right? But the whole point is that the only reason they're let go of is because there's a sense of somebody holding on to them, which is separate from them. Right? The glimpse is you seeing you. Then the sense of the separate self presents itself again. The sense of the power or pull of identity latches onto that. The shapeshifter makes the shape now of someone who experienced the glimpse and wants to become and wants to merge with it. But in the process, you begin to see it. Now notice, the glimpse was there, something arose, and it's very subtle. It's very subtle. You can't see it, you can't hear it, it is silent, it is invisible. It's an impulse to identify as something other than the glimpse that you had. Now catch that. See if you can catch that. And if you can't, no problem. Just keep going back to the sense I am, the sense of your own being, and join the self-inquiry saga, because we do this more. It's even more in depth there. Brent, good to see you back. Good to see you back. Happy to be with you too. Yes, man, I haven't seen you in a bit. I haven't been on the journey of self-inquiry consciously for a while now because I got distracted by outside circumstances. Welcome to the party. We all did. What do you recommend for starting to get back on? Well, first off, you already did respond to my love. You already did. Because you realized you weren't, something was missing, right? You realized you were distracted, right? Who was that? Where did that come from? But grace, right? Grace showed you that. And what is grace? But the love of truth for you and the love of truth in you that is sincere. So what do I recommend? Well, that exercise that I gave to Banksy Fortnight earlier is great. Here, I mean, you've chosen to be here. What could be better? This is what we do here, right? To do this looking together, right? To get guidance and pointers to go back. And we're all going to experience this. So, do not beat yourself up. The mind's kind of going to come in and go, oh, God, look at how much time you wasted. Oh, you're so stupid, right? Don't buy that. Don't buy that. Everything unfolds exactly in the way it should. Now, take a look at it. Go, well, I got distracted, right? I got distracted. Something rose up, pulled my attention away, and I didn't recognize it. Now, what actually happened is something arose, right? And it's going to, especially if you're on this path, right? It is a challenge to all of the old habits. So yeah, they're going to kind of pull out all the stops to try to draw you back into the pattern you were in. And one of the ways they do that is you just find yourself, an hour later, a day, 2 years later. Wait, I've been totally distracted for all this time. It's going to happen. Now, just all the way back, what actually happened? Something arose in my experience. Right? Now, and it got my attention and my interest. Now, there's been a lot of things in our lives that have grabbed our interests, haven't they? Start when you're a kid. But the things that grabbed your interest when you were 5 or 10 or 15 or whenever don't get your interest now, do they? So something grabbed your interest. Now, the interest is a very subtle manifestation of the person, the identity that has interest in it. Because without that, nothing has interest, does it? Without me here to give it some meaning and interest, it wouldn't be interesting, right? I'm not interested in playing with trucks anymore, as I was when I was 5 and 10, right? I'm not interested in going out and getting stoned all the time, playing in rock bands and CD players. No interest, right? So none of that captures my attention. So there was a sense of identity there. Something arose in the environment and got the attention and pulled, and because of the power and that pull of identification, which we don't see because it's the silent one, we only see the distraction and what we're distracted by, it pulled you away for a period of time. But because you're truthful and you're sincere, eventually Grace said, okay, long enough, and just kind of went, bam, hit you or something. Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. You awoke. Right? I awoke to it. Right? Now you're back here. Now, that's what happened. My mission, at least for now, at this phase of life, is to make everyone aware of it's not the problem with the interest going there. It's not the distraction that's a problem. And it's certainly not the things that appear in our life that are a problem. Like, because who wants to say, oh, my family's a problem, I've got to get rid of them, I've got to go to the Himalayas. Or, you know what? I'm not awake because I brush my teeth every day, so I have to stop brushing my teeth. It can get that absurd, okay? It can get that absurd. It's not anything going on in your life. It is this very subtle, unseen pull to create an identity that forms a relationship with the event. I got to make sure I keep my hands in front of the camera. A relationship with the event. And that is the person. And that person doesn't exist as an entity. It is a projection of the mind onto the events, creating a relationship, and then a sense that there's an I that has that relationship. The actual thing we have to become aware of is the pull towards identity and the shapeshifter that this one doesn't work, zoop, it immediately goes over here. Right? Oh, they caught a glimpse of reality. Zoop. I caught a glimpse. I lost it. Oh my God. But now I'm going to seek. I'm going to be a good seeker of that glimpse. Right? If we become aware of it, and I've quoted this numerous times before, but it's just so powerful, from Ramana Maharshi, who said, like a spirit, impalpable, the I thought arises. Now, the word impalpable means imperceivable. It cannot be detected by the mind or the senses. The mind doesn't see it. It's only grace, awareness through grace, that makes us aware of it. Right? And if you're glimpsing it now, it means that grace has touched you. And I know somebody out there must be, because I have the impulse to speak about it. And if nobody was, I wouldn't have that impulse. Now, if you didn't get it, if something like that went beyond you, just try to recognize that there's something in us that wants to become something, that prefers being somebody seeking truth than to be the truth itself. It's not you, it's not the truth of you, but when we're not aware of it, we think it's the truth of us and we live it. As Muji often says, you want to taste the honey, you don't want to be the honey. But I'm inviting you to both be the honey and taste it. And if you are the honey, then it is not something that comes and goes. The flavor is always there for you because it's your flavor. So, is this a good start for you, Yasmin? And all of you. And all of you. There's Taby. If you're not responding to arrogant and egocentric, they perceive you powerless and meek. It's easy to remain silent when you don't have power to hit back. How to remain calm when feeling negative? First off, there's some real falsities there that I want to point out to you so you can let go of them. First is you think that if I'm become aware of and relinquishing of my own arrogance, egocentricity, then I'm not responding to it. I respond to the arrogance of others. I feel it, right? And it's repulsive, right? Which of course makes me realize how repulsive I was. Now, bearing that in mind allows me to bring compassion to what simply could have been one arrogance condescending to another arrogance. But since I know the pull of it and the trickiness of it, and it's like you look in the mirror and you go, oof, wow, okay, thank you for showing me that. Then you can begin to look upon them, anybody that you run across that with, not as them trying to get it over on you, which they are, right? But not also perceiving you as powerless and weak. That's a projection. That's you perceiving yourself as powerless and weak. I don't have the power to hit back, which is not true. It's a belief you hold and therefore experience as if it is true, but it is not true. And your perception of them as perceiving you that way is a projection of you onto them. You don't actually know. They may not. Who knows? And remember, if somebody is arrogant or egocentric, it's because this is how their conditioning and their mind has developed a personality that will hide from them their own deep feelings of inadequacy, powerlessness, and weakness, hide it so they can function in the world that they think they need to be powerful and arrogant in order to be regarded as something. You're just witnessing the way their conditioning is done, and because you only see the arrogance, and you're feeling your powerlessness, you don't see the fact that they too are feeling that powerlessness, or they're not feeling it because they've grabbed on, identified with that arrogance, and that's the way they keep from feeling it. So, you don't need the power to hit back. This isn't a bar fight. How to remain calm when feeling negative is to recognize the negative feeling is there. Own it 100%. Don't try to push it away. I'm going to be positive now. Just, there's a negative feeling here, and I'm going to be with it lovingly. Now, who am I that is capable of, instead of identifying with the negative feeling, trying to get rid of it, trying to hide it, trying to pretend to be something else so nobody sees it? Who am I that can just be present with it? If I can see it, it can't be me. I am something other than that. Who am I? Now, if who you are, if it gets interesting to you, right, that I'm really interested in the fact that I can perceive it, so this isn't really me. It feels really close and intimate, but I am perceiving it, so it isn't me. Who am I? When that becomes more interesting than how to respond or the feelings themselves, your attention will continuously go there, and what will happen is you'll discover who you are, because that's there, because it's you who's seeing it. This is the nature of this path, to turn everything out there to a pointer back here. I was having a private session with somebody day before yesterday, and we just kind of came on this together. And it was for her, she could come down to, oh, if I'm experiencing it, right, I am. I'm having the experience, therefore I am. And just so then the experience itself, good, bad, different, whatever's happening, automatically becomes a pointer back to I am. She was having a struggle just putting her attention on the I am. But when we kind of came to this, right, it just kind of happened. I didn't tell her. She came up on it with, this grace touching her. That, so, oh, wait a minute, I'm having experience, therefore I am. Because if I'm not here, I can't have an experience. So now everything becomes a pointer back to me. And that has to happen, because otherwise we're always going to just be trying to create some kind of strategy, some kind of way of being, fix things, changing things in order to be able to deal with a world that we're not comfortable with and seems to be bigger and more powerful than we are. That will always be the case until attention becomes more focused here. And there's less concern with how to be in the world. Because, what does that mean? Because the moment you think you got it figured out, it's going to change. The ones you think are arrogant and perceive you powerless and meek are themselves going to experience their powerlessness and meekness. Because they're going to run into somebody who looks at them that way, who sees it. Or they're going to be fortunate enough to run into someone who sees their powerlessness and weakness and loves them and embraces them and all of it, which gives them a sense of safety that allows them to come out of that level of arrogance into the place of powerlessness and weakness, and go beyond that to the place of true power, which is who you really are, which is the only place where there is true power. Otherwise, it will always be some sense of identity that is shifting and changing, and it's a shapeshifter. It's unreliable. It's unstable. You may develop an absolutely perfect persona, sattvic, compassionate, kind, everything, and it's still a person. It's going to change. It is still it's just a well-behaved robot, but it's still a robot. Yeah. Let's see. Beautiful answer, G. Tears falling from my eyes, and yes, I'd love to talk more about this on Wednesday. Good, bring it up. Deal with arrogant, insolent, and bullying persons. Yeah, I covered that. What's happening on Wednesday? I have my non-dual self-inquiry Sangha group. It's a private group that I have. I charge a nominal. It's $47 a month. But every Wednesday, I get together for an hour or two. I always try to make it like 90 minutes, but it always goes over. It's on Zoom, so I can actually interact with you, go back and forth, question you, get answers, rather than, here. I get a question, I have to answer it more generally. I could be much more specific. And so, yeah, so that's what it is. And it's open to everybody. I think if one of you guys who's in it can find a link to it and post it here for people, or at least for me, and maybe I can copy it and make sure it gets to everybody, because I'm on two different channels. I'm on my gpwalsh channel and also on the spirituality channel. So it's yeah, it's this, but I get the opportunity to really work in detail, plus talk about some things that we might not want to talk about in an open forum like this, because it is private and confidential. So we can get into some other stuff, and it's a safe place. So the private stuff is, people are very comfortable to share some stuff, and you don't want to, you don't have to. So, God knows what's on your heart. I don't have to. Sandra, how can I make a good start on this non-duality stuff as I'm new to this? Well, well, this is a good start. Have you been here before? I have other stuff on the channel. But the self inquiry sangha, which is where I get to actually customize the inquiry with people. My job is to guide you through it. So you get the right teaching as I have, right? And I can only say it's the right teaching because I've gotten it, right? Didn't make it up, right? And it's not intellectual, right? It's experiential. Um, so I can guide you, give you the pointers, point you out along the way, and then send you to practice, right? Let you practice, you come back with questions. And the best way for me to do it is in the Sangha, where I can actually interact with people on a level that I can't hear, much as I would like to. I just I can't do it with everyone. So let me see if anybody's posted that. Any of you who are in the self-inquiry Sangha, if you could post the link to it. I think it may just be, okay, see if this works. https homeschool.ca/sangha. I think it's that. Okay. Hit the button and it'll take you there, and there's a week free, so if you really hate it, you have to pay me. It's a subscription thing you can cancel anytime, and I don't go out to hunt people down. So, but separate from that, Sandra, remember, well, maybe you don't remember, it's experiential. There's a lot of teachers out there who cover the conceptual, more the intellectual, the part of it, the jnana part, which is the Sanskrit word for true knowledge, right, or wisdom. Because there is a deep and precise looking that utilizes our mental capacities, our intellectual equipment, as it were. Right? But if that's not balanced with the heart energy of surrender and a desire to experience it, and a sensitivity to our own feelings, our sufferings, and the feelings of others, it'll become too heady, and the boat will get missed. Okay? So there's a flow between wisdom and compassion, between wisdom and love, between the path of devotion, just loving God, and the path of jnana, of wisdom, of deep non-dual self-inquiry. And because I have been blessed by a true teacher, I teach that flow, that way. So that's the best way to start, and trust your own instincts. There's a lot of teachers here. You may be putting in non-duality or enlightenment. You'll get, here in YouTube, you will get just, a truckload, a boatload, a cargo boatload of people out there teaching. But trust your instincts, right? Trust your own sense, right? They leave you cold, and they leave you cold. If they, no matter who says they're great, just doesn't feel right. Don't go there. You'll get led by that inner instinct, which is grace, leading you to the one that's right for you now. You may find some, they're very appealing, but after a while, it's like, no, something's missing. Fine, just thank you very much, and move on. There are many teachers, unfortunately, say, no, this is it, right? That temptation to move on, it's a temptation. Don't follow it. That's only true in a very few, very rare occasions. But never doubt or worry about about it if you're just trying to follow your heart. Your heart will lead you, as it has to this. It's the heart, it's grace, that has led you to here, at this point. And as Rumi beautifully put it, the power that brought me here must bring me home. And you are under grace, Sandra. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot blow it. That I can guarantee with my whole heart. Doom? Oh, Doom? Oh, yeah, Doom. Yeah, it was Doom. I can't even remember who the characters were now, but I found out later it was Doom because nobody knew who it was at that point. It's before Doom came out. Obviously, I was one of the voices on it. Yeah. At Electronic Arts, I believe, right? How to... Oops. Oh, where am I? StreamYard back here. Okay. Stop. Over here, I guess move a little bit. Tabi, how to deal with the fear that human get abusive for no reason? It's really the same question. Fear is you. It's all in you. Humans can get abusive for no reason you can see. So, yeah, you're not going to stop them. Someone inside of me got scared. Yes, that's it. Put your attention there. Oh, someone inside of me got scared. Some sense of identity that I've been maybe holding on for a very long time. But, good news, someone else was there who saw that someone who got scared. Now, is that one scared? Look, really look. Don't take this in your head and say, gee, said they were scared, but I'm still scared. Keep looking. Notice there's the sense of fear, there's the sense of an identity that is afraid, and there's something aware of that. Put your attention on that which is aware. Because you're aware of it. That's you. Oh, hello. Hello to you. Travel home and go. Too much self-inquiry harmful to your mental health? No. If it's done correctly. Right? If it's not done correctly, nothing done incorrectly is going to be healthy for you. Right? Is there any direct path apart from self-inquiry and meditation? No. Self-inquiry, right? Don't make a concept out of it. Anybody. What did I just say to Tabi? Everybody pay attention to that. Right? Someone inside of me got scared. And me. Now the focus is me. I felt the fear. I noticed that there was an identity. I have somebody inside of me, but I'm there too. Self-inquiry is inquiring into that. Okay? Inquiring into that is self-inquiry. And that, by the way, is the direct path. Right? Rupert has a teaching called, there's direct path exercises, that, most of which came from Atmananda, which is a non-dual Indian teacher. Krishna Menon, I think was his name, came Atmananda. Greg Good has a little book of his exercises, which are all non-dual direct path exercises, right? And the direct path. This is the direct path. Right? How could it be more direct than you to you? All of these exercises are ways of which to bring your attention back to the one to whom attention is reporting. What you are looking for is where you are looking from, as St. Francis of Assisi. And so it is direct path teaching, but please don't get hung up on the definition. Oh, this is a direct path teaching, as if it was something discrete. It's not. And I have no problem. Rupert's a real teacher. I have no problem right? There are some that I would kind of go, I'll, I'll keep that opinion to myself, but not Rupert, right? But just don't say, oh, this is a direct past teaching as opposed to a non-dual self-inquiry. There is no difference. What we're talking about is the direct path to you. And of course, even the word path doesn't make any sense because you are already you. It's like asking you to get up and walk over to yourself. The path is the realization that it's all you are already that, which doesn't have any distance, and therefore it is self-inquiry, and you can't get any more direct, can you? No distance. Right. Travel home and go. Is there a way to distinguish between a depression from feeling separate versus depression based on simply not attaining your goals or feeling good about your relationships? Yes. Actually, in a sense, they are the same. Depression is always a feeling I don't have the power to make my life the way I want it. That's where depression comes from, and that's the feeling of it. I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or anything. I'm not trying to give you a clinical definition. My experience working with people is that that it is you're just cut off from your own inner power. Started as a childhood, developed along the way, and again, because you're here, because you obviously have a spiritual desire, and you recognize that sense of feeling separate from things, that I'll address it on that level. That feeling of separation manifests itself in goals that are not goals of your own heart, but goals of the ego identity you've become. And one could, and those not being attained, right? They're projections, they're ambitions, they're fantasies, right? That are all there to try to substantiate the egoic the sense of identity, the person, which is created on top of that feeling of not being adequate, not being enough. Right? So even if it attained those goals, in a very short order, that feeling would be back, and if no, this is the wrong thing, or that would wear out, or something would shift. It wouldn't be satisfying for the long term. And the same thing would go for relationships that are created that were in that context, coming from that place, right? And so that, just take that feeling of oh, I didn't attain it, whatever that may be for you. Call it depression, call it disappointment, disillusionment, just kind of emotional fatigue, right? About your relationships, right? And follow that feeling back to ask those kinds of questions. What is it that I'm really wanting? What is it that's really missing in me? And then try to put aside all the ways in which, well, it's this. Because the mind will then say, well, you need a better relationship, obviously, right? You need to be more close, more intimacy, more fun times, right? You need a class in Tantra or something like that. Or it's like, oh, that goal wasn't very good. Try harder, double down. You need to be more, nose to the grindstone. There's all sorts of ways of looking at it. Just go, well, my number one desire is to know myself, is to be free of the feeling of separation. Right now, the feeling of separation is manifesting itself. I'm separate from my goal. I'm separate from the relationship. I'm separate. I'm feeling the discomfort and dissatisfaction of being separate. What's the origin of that sense of being separate? Where's that coming from? And then you become aware of the fact that there's a sense of being separate, but there's also a sense that I'm here aware of it. Whatever I'm aware of, whatever I perceive, cannot be me. That's one thing knowing another. I can't step outside of me, stand over there, look at me, and assess me. Can't do it. I'm one. The eye can't see itself, right? The knife can't cut it. My finger can't touch itself. So if I can perceive it, it's not me. Who am I? Who is it that's perceiving that? Now notice, I'm not ignoring the fact that we want goals, we want good relationship and all that. I'm shifting the priority so that they're not as important anymore as knowing who you are. Who is it that's aware of, not just of that, but of the aware of the discomfort, aware of the depression, of however that manifests for you. So every single event in your life becomes the opportunity to deepen the inquiry, to look more and more towards that which is experiencing it. Because we all know the experience, and we've all been taught to devote all sorts of time and attention to the experience, getting what we want. But where else does somebody say, that's fine, who are you that's having the experience? Look at the I that's having the experience. And the sense of I that's there, that is perceived. When you do that, you're on this path. Period. If you a little bit, just a little shift to try to look in that direction, grace is there, grabbing on. You know, the crack is opened, truth is, whoop, it's got a foot in, right? Oh, yay, it's salivating. Yeah, I'm here, I'm in, I'm down with it, right? And then you find your way to places like this that answers the question, that guides you, that points you back to you. Not towards the teaching, not even towards the teacher, towards you. That's all the teacher can do. It's pointing you back from, right? It's the metaphor is often used, and it's a really good one, which is why it's often used. Uh-oh. Saved. All of a sudden I thought, oh God, did I drip some coffee? And that is the moon reflected on a still pond. When the pond is absolutely still, it's a perfect reflection. Sometimes it's so bright. It's there. It's the moon. Right? But it's not. It's just a reflection. And then oftentimes, throw a rock in it. Where there's wind or something. The water may be so disturbed you can't even see, you can't even make out that it is the moon. Yet it is a reflection of the moon. We're in the process of stilling those waters so you can see the pure reflection, which is the I am that is aware of all of this. Then you can take, but now look from the reflection to the moon itself. It's from here. This is the whole path. So let's see, an hour and a half. Let me look through here. So let's see, how's the link there? Did the link come through there? Oh, there it is. Oops. Oh God, what happened? / that's wrong. Let me put it there again. Hold on a second. https://omschool.ca/SANGHA. Let me just make sure that's correct before I put it up there for everyone. It should be page not found. Okay, that's not correct. All right. Shall I take a quick second and fix it for y'all? Let's see where you are on Wix. I will take a second to do that. There seems to be enough people that want it. I will, let's see. SEO. Oh, I wish I had a webmaster of my own. One of my life goals is to actually have a team of people who could support me during this. But so far, God has said no. Okay, so let me create one really quick. I will make a nice, easy one for everybody to. The one that I get, I'll make it work, because right now, it's not working. I actually heard a story about a man who, a sincere religious man who had prayed to God for a very long time. He was an athlete, and he rode a mountain bike, and didn't have a lot of money, and he really wanted to have a really good brand new mountain bike. But I guess God just kept saying no. Right? He prayed and prayed, but no mountain bike. So inquiry song, there it is. So what he did instead is he stole the bike and then prayed for forgiveness. Okay, that's an approach, don't you think? New redirect. Okay. /SANGHA. Homeschool. Save. Saved. All right, let's try once again. Homeschool. SANGHA. And there, it worked. Okay, good. Back to you all. So this I now know works. So, if you don't get what you asked for, then, well, just steal it and beg and ask God forgiveness. God's all forgiving, right? We all know that. Let's see. Yes, it is, says Yasmin. Great answer to Yasmin. Taste the honey and be the honey. Shubham, I tried accepting negative feelings, and it's calmed down for a few days and again comes back. How to let go completely? Easy. Easily said, not easily done. I'll tell you what the flaw is. The first thing is that allowing, right, letting things be as they are, accepting that negative feelings that are there, is not a tool for getting rid of them. It is not just another way to make them go away. That's not really allowing them. If there's a feeling there, it's you, isn't it? Right? It's kind of like saying a part of you, go away. My hand hurts. My hand actually hurts today, right? I don't know, I worked it too hard or something on something or other, all the painting and scrubbing that I've been doing. Now, I could say, negative feeling, pain, go away. I want my finger to go, I want it to just go away. Or I could accept the fact that it's there and maybe I have to rest it, right? That it's there for a reason and therefore not really negative. Now, obviously, there's a lot of psychological stuff and left stuff from the past and feelings that come up and reactive stuff that really is very unpleasant. So letting go means taking your hands off of it, period. Once you take your hands off, what it does has nothing to do with you anymore. You're holding a beach ball underwater and you let go of it. It pops up to the surface. It may keep bouncing back at you for a while. But eventually it's gonna float away as long as you don't grab it again. So that's really what it comes down to. And what you'll find if you walk down that path of, oh, I really want to allow it to be there, is first off, you mistook it for a negative thing and something that had to go away. And you also mistook the idea of allowing, or just really allowing everything to be as it is, as a resignation to things always being like this. Both of which are wrong. It really is unconditional self-love. You're loving yourself. You're letting yourself be present with what's here. Obviously, also is there, what's also there is the deep desire for freedom from distress and the like. But if you really see it like that, and that it's more than just getting rid of this feeling, but it's actually cultivating a sense of self that's in equanimity with what, no matter what happens, and feels empowered no matter what happens, but doesn't have to fight everything, right? Then you're looking to in yourself for the freedom, not freedom that comes simply because circumstances are more to my liking, which is what we all do. And we think, if I can just get these conditions right, then I'll be okay. But if you haven't noticed by now, conditions never stay the same. And we don't stay the same. The conditions that worked, a week ago aren't working anymore, either because they've changed or I've changed, right? But that change is consistent. But the freedom that comes from here, the freedom that is simply willing with an open heart to be present, that never goes away, because that's you. And that's unconditional love. That's unconditional self-acceptance. Is this helping? Shubham? Shubham? No. Tabby, I'm looking like the angel of compassion. Hope I'm not looking too angelic. Right? I don't think wings would do well on me. Jay, I was listening to Eckhart this morning, and being in this space, something came to me: identities. We all tend to lean towards our favorable behaviors, and going against the opposite causes a certain level of discomfort, which is the perfect sign for the identification. Yes, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm not able to make myself perfectly happy and perfect, period. I can't. I'm trying to be perfectly compassionate, and I can't. Of course you can't. There's no such thing as a perfect person. They don't exist. We never have. Right? Oh, there's discomfort here. Who's aware of the discomfort? Oh, I am. So then, who am I? All right, discomfort, fine. Matter of fact, discomfort, thank you. You reminded me that I have, without knowing it, on some level, identified, taken a position, right, for, whatever I take a position for, I'm taking a position against. When that happens, inner conflict, discomfort, aka suffering. Maybe subtle, maybe really in your face overt, but suffering nonetheless. So, thank you, Jay, and thank you, Eckhart. Mary, I love being in the Wednesday group. We love having you, Mary. So glad you're there. Jay, and all of it's perfectly fine, and I say this because I rehearsed a scenario in my mind where I would go against my inclination, and it was finding that freedom in going against it that was so liberating. It reminded me of what you were saying in level 2, that certain things that used to do isn't you anymore. And whatever it is now will also change, basically being in the flow. Yeah. Yes. When you find yourself going against something, it's because you're identified with something that's for it. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Everything works that way. And it's not because now you try to become, oh, okay, so I think that guy's arrogant, so that means there's arrogance in me, so I got to try harder not to be arrogant. Now you're trying to create a person who's not arrogant. You're Maya. My God, Maya is crazy. Is Maya is the the Hindu goddess of illusion. Right? She is the illusion of the world, and boy, is she ever clever. Being in the flow means there's nothing you can point to that is you. Just recognize if I can perceive it, it can't be me, which means that I cannot perceive myself. I cannot know myself as one thing knows another, which is why I'm, I'm inviting you all to simply go back and go, oh, how do I know that I know that I am. But I'm not standing here looking over me and say, hey, look, you are. Like, I'm going to look at my cup here and say, oh, my cup is, because there it is. I can't do that to me, and yet I know I am. That's non-dual recognition. Oh, I am. Right? That's the self recognizing the self. Right? Just do that. Just start there. It will break down the rest. This is the link, I believe. Great. It says, Kugalika, thank you so much, Sandra. Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy, Sandra. Yeah, so happy. So happy. Kensho. Hi, GP, and everyone. Grateful to be in this experience with you as always. Just wanted to share something comforting. Lyrics to a George Harrison song. George Harrison. What a wonderful human being. Called Any Road. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Beautiful. Yeah, he was a genuine soul who, was on his path and devoted to his path sincerely in his actions, not just in his actions within himself, and not just how he appeared or anything like that. Yeah, he was amazing for somebody who had that level of celebrity. I mean, just unparalleled. It's never been equaled. The level of celebrity and that the Beatles had. To have that and to be able to actually become as sincere and devoted to his path as he did is stunning. Just what a remarkable human being. I just have to say, just wow. Tavi, GP, that's a wonderful and direct way to describe self-inquiry. Thank you, Tavi. Shubham, please share the link for the Wednesday group. Okay. Oh, it's down below. Did you see it now? Did everybody see it? Link? Ava gave her link. You're correct. To Sangha. Let's see. Elle is laughing so hard she's crying. And more. Oh, and travel home and go. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. Ava said, God, did not say no. Spirituality. Tiffany, I missed you. Just now hearing from you. Hey, G, won't be able to watch live, but wanted to say hi and look forward to listening tomorrow. Okay. Oh, Tiffany, lovely. Thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Appreciate it for clarity. You're very welcome. Welcome. And Blasius, how do we choose what's true for me to do, flow with, follow in the moment without betraying myself or relying on the opinions of others codependently? Big question. The short answer is this. The only way to know what's true for me is to know who me is. Right? Now, I'm not just, I'm not being flippant about that. Because as long as we don't know who we are, or at least walking in that direction, we're going to simply be reacting to the environment, and the decisions we make are going to be made not by you, by your true authentic self, but by the conditioning that you receive. They're going to be based on the person you're not. And in my tapping groups, the tapping, because I do teach people how to do energy healing, level 1, especially in level 2. I go into depth as to how this all happened. Right? We don't go into the spiritual dimension on that. That's for level 3. I've got 3 levels of where we bridge this gap between emotional healing and spiritual self inquiry. Um, because the sense of self that most are living out is the sense of self that developed within the nervous system simply as a reaction to the environment, as part of the mechanism of the nervous system designed to keep you safe and survived in an environment where you weren't safe to be yourself. That's it. And the sense of identity that we have formed based on that limited little space that was the nervous system simply developing behaviors that got your needs met in the environment. For some, that was highly abusive, which means there wasn't much of the real you showing through. In others, not so abusive and everything in between, so maybe there is more of you showing through, but nobody is living out their true self. So just start from the point of view that who I think I am, I'm not. And I've been acting it out, so it's experienced as if it's real. But because it isn't, it's unstable, right? Because all the nervous system is doing is, who do I need to be in order to function? It grabs onto somebody, holds onto it tightly. It isn't interested in who you actually are. It doesn't even know such a thing exists. Just how to function within the environment. And so it will pick up the opinions of others, try to become that. It may get really doggedly into something. It may take on really negative qualities. It can be I always defer to others. It can become spirit. It can do all sorts of things, right? But it is always going to be reactive. It's never going to be coming from you. So, since you're here in satsang, I have to assume that your heart is open to this, and so I can say unequivocally that the only real way to do this without betraying yourself is to know who you are. And when I say that, if you look at it strictly from the point of view of the habit energy of the mind and the ego and that sort of thing, it will seem like a daunting task. But it's not that hard. Right? As I'm trying to make it clear here, it isn't hard. It's not hard to be what you already are. It's not hard for the dog to bark, because that's what they do. The thing is, we've got an idea in our heads as to who we are, which is an identity based on conditioning, not on that. And we believe in it so strongly, and there's so much of a feeling of resistance to changing that, because it's rooted in the body and the safety mechanism and all that it seems like it's hard. But it's not. And the very fact that you're here listening to me speak like this now means that something inside you has awoken to that and is trying to find its way back in to the reality of you. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to leave it at that for right now. Certainly open to any other questions you might have there at Lasias about it, but I'm speeding up a bit because it's getting on 2 hours. So, Mary Sykes, please correct me. Did you say if you can see it, you are not it? Yeah. If you can perceive it, it can't be you, can it? You're looking at the computer. Are you the computer? Look around your room at every object. Every one of those objects, you could say, oh, there it is, but it's obviously not you. Okay? Now, can you, the perceiver, actually be perceived? Can you step outside of yourself and look at yourself and know yourself as I know, the microphone I've got on my head, the computer that's sitting in front of me, the lights on my plants behind me, right? And you looking around your room, can you look at yourself that way? You cannot. Right? You can't do it. You can't step outside yourself and look back. So, how do you know you then? So the perceiver can't be perceived, but don't just get this intellectually. take it further. Go, oh, I cannot know myself. Well, then, but yet here I am. I know that I am. And yet, how do I know? Because I'm not looking at me. I am me. And you'll realize it's a different kind of knowing. It's direct. It's non-dual. This is non-duality. Hello. um, right. Yeah. So he says, my question may sound stupid, but it has to be the condition. No, it's not stupid at all. It's essential. Where'd the stupid come from? Yeah. If you can't see it, if you can see it, it can't be you, which means you can't see you. Oh, how do I know me then? Welcome to non-dual self-inquiry. The self inquiring into the self. Who am I? Pink space. I can't seem to be able to balance relaxing and staying in the flow of studying. I mostly feel guilty when I'm not doing work. Thank you, GP. Yeah. Right. Good. So just do this. Right. First off, let yourself off the hook. Right. This is not a path of austerity. Right. You don't have to take a vow of celibacy or silence. You don't have to stick yourself into a cave. You don't have to renounce the world, right? I want you to fall in love with it. If you fall in love with someone, you don't need to put them on your day timer to be with them. You don't need to force your attention to go back and ponder them. Right? So let yourself relax. When you're relaxing, just relax. Right? Oh, and I'm relaxing now. I give myself permission to relax. And when you're in studying, that is, you're doing non-dual inquiry, then do the inquiry. Right? Now, very practical thing you do is like, okay, I'm going to do the inquiry the way my teacher tells me to do it. I'm going to do it for 10 minutes, and I'm going to take a break. Just set a timer, right? So you know that within that 10 minutes, anything that distracts you is a distraction to what you're doing. Okay. So now you can trust that, right? And you say, no, I'm going to relax for 10 minutes. Or I'm going to watch a Netflix, something stupid on Netflix, right? A hopeless romance or car crashes or whatever I want, right? And during that period of time, that's what I'm going to do, right? And so anything that comes to mind that says, you should be doing this, it's like, no, I'm not. This is it. This is my practice right now. Very practical, right? And you are exercising your inner authority, which is a big part of this. So, and then you'll find accidentally, without even noticing it, you'll notice it without even you forcing it. You'll be doing it, you'll be relaxing, you'll be watching a Netflix movie, and suddenly you'll say, well, who's actually watching this? I'm seeing this. It's registering. There's emotions going through me. I'm reacting. It's it's so sweet. Or, oh no. Oh, who's noticing all of that? Oh, that's all it takes. Who's aware of that? In that moment, you may get so engaged with that you forget about the movie. Like you would if, somebody you were in love with or hot for was sitting next to you. You may forget all about the movie. Or you may go, oh yeah, and go right back into the movie. No, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it came up very naturally, right? Got your attention, may capture your attention, may not. Doesn't matter. Remember, you're not the one doing this. The person you think you are is not the one doing it. Grace is here. Grace is bringing all of this to your attention. Grace is working with you, and grace never has to utilize guilt to make you do anything. A God of love does not make you need to be scared to death of them to get you to be with them or want to do things their way. Anytime it's fear or it's guilt, it is not coming from truth. It is not coming from God. Which when you hear people these days threatening hell and all sorts of things, you're not going to get heaven, you're going to have to go to hell. You cannot love a God you are afraid of. They're mutually exclusive. You cannot love someone you're afraid of. You're obedient. You're deferential. You're quiescent, right? Right? But you're not loving. The modern God of the evangelicals is not, can't possibly be truth, right? It's nobody that anybody want to be with, right? That has to actually force you to want to be with him. That's a crazy ex-boyfriend, is what that is. Yeah, it's not a God. Anyway, I got a little bit off the subject there, but it's very guilt, pressure, forcing are not the tools of love. When you're relaxing, just relax. That's it. You're studying, just study. And to actually specify some times for yourself, I do that. You're sitting here and sometimes, okay, next 5 minutes, just nothing but just falling into the self, just being the self. It's especially helpful if there's a lot of things you have to do, or you're in the middle of the day or something. Just to, if you think of it, if you don't think of it, don't do it. Of course, you're not going to do it. But then, oh, I should have thought of it. Throw that out. That's nuts. I should have is not coming from the God of love. This is the God of love that is calling you home to herself, right? Not the God of bombast saying, either do it my way or else. You must obey me. I should put on some, I have some reverb. I should put some reverb on when I do that. All right. An entire cafe latte, not one drop. Come on, congratulations. Can I get an amen? Dazo. Hey, GP, just wanted to say thank you for the advice you gave me a few weeks ago. It helped tremendously. Thank you. Oh, so welcome. So welcome, my friend. Of course I can see. Of course, if I can see it, it can't be me. I'm seeing it. Yes. Sylvia, the nervous system is such a difficult thing to calm because it doesn't seem to care about reasoning. Yes, it doesn't. It's impervious to reasoning. It lives in a different world. I'm actually presenting a whole model of that to show the absolute hard line between the concept and the body, the thinking and the body, the soma, the nous and the soma. Use the Greek word for mind. But no, it doesn't care about it. So don't bother with it. Don't try to reason with it. It's a waste of time. And sometimes the circumstances that put us into that state, put the nervous system into that state, happened when we were so young we couldn't talk. So it doesn't even have words. It's frozen in time. So that's why I use something like tapping, which is a help, but also why my approach to non-duality, which is the approach of my teacher, is experiential. It's always an emphasis on the experience of it, because the reasoning does not penetrate deeply enough. The reasoning is important to be precise, but it's only a pointer. Because life is lived from the neck down. Concepts don't have experience of life. They don't know love. They don't know pleasure. It doesn't even know pain. It's just a word that's referent. That's all happening here. This is where life happens. I'd love to come and hang out with you for a while. I know Jay would agree to this too. Well, maybe we can get, enough people together at some place everybody can get to. But of course, for people in Europe, it's kind of hard to get over here. And of course, I'm happy to go to Europe. Right? Just all I have to do is get enough people together to pay my expenses, and I'm there, right? Oh, it's somebody else to organize it, because I'm absolutely terrible. Yes, terrible at that. So I kind of forgot to ask. Just make sure, Sylvia, that this is what we're doing, right? Calming the nervous system, and it's for that reason that I even use energy healing because it's not strictly non-dual self-inquiry. But I've realized for many folks, that there's an enormous amount of emotional healing that has to take place before non-dual self-inquiry won't become yet another way to suppress the stuff that I haven't been able to face. Which, when you simply go the conceptual route of non-duality, and you hear a lot of teachers like that, that's what it becomes. It becomes a suppression, yet another tool for the nervous system to not feel what it doesn't want to feel. And you have to penetrate that and get down to the heart of it. Godwin's name. How funny. Yes, that works too. Everything you can observe isn't you. Also works in the reverse. Everything you observe is you. How can it be otherwise? Since you got the data of it, you must be present in the experience of it. You can never experience anything outside of you. Well, that's actually an extra step, and you're right. It's true. It's absolutely true, right? But I did that actually in the answer to Bang's fortnight, Bankenzie fortnight, something like that. I can't pronounce it. To go that final route to see that, but don't jump right to that. Experiencing it is me, because that's only true if you first clearly seen that it's not. That I am nothing I can experience, no matter what it is. Right? I am beyond experience. Right? Then that is the self which recognizes itself reflected. It is not a thing that I am out there. It is an image, right? Which is an appearance, which has no substance. It has no entity in and of itself. It's the self looking in the mirror of the self. It's just important for me to point that out, because a lot of people want to kind of do a little end run and jump right to the oneness. But you can't skip this step. It's only one for the one. It can't be the sense of a separate self saying, I am one, because then it's not true anymore. The self says, I am one, and it is true. But only God can say, I am God. Athlesius, yes, I feel the openness. I do have a traumatized nervous system with many years in non-duality. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Seems dissolving this trauma and abandonment, body and its shame is the next step. Good. So that's, I still will, I do in the self-inquiry Sangha. I'll do tapping and emotional healing with people when necessary. And it comes up. And it does come up. Sometimes a lot of it. Sometimes not so much. So it's a tool I use. It isn't just, we're just going to do non-dual speak. It isn't that at all. It is a place for genuine connection, understanding trauma and its nature, where it came from, and how it really isn't you, right? But it is just this the system, the body-mind mechanism, which then we can very compassionately heal and open up the space. So it isn't stuck. You're never stuck there. But now the body-mind mechanism is freed from that, so it can go on to do its primary mission in life, which is to give expression to who you really are. To give expression to the self. It becomes the mirror. The universe becomes your body. Eva says, thank you for today once more. Last session 2 days ago, so much changed. Oh, you're welcome. Leslie is, or is it as simple as choosing my true nature over the belief in trauma? Could be a bypass. Yeah. Boy. I want to get you all into the self-inquiry Sangha so I can dive in deeply. It is as simple as choosing your true nature, but choose that in your heart, recognizing fully that my desire to choose it, right, doesn't mean I'm actually doing it. Doesn't mean everything is aligned with that. Right? But my desire to do that, my sincerity, will invoke the help of grace, which will bring you increasingly in line with that choice. And in the process, reveal the beliefs in the trauma, the activity of the trauma, as not you. This is the process. But when you choose it, don't think it's okay. I'm choosing this now. Choosing this now. Choosing this now. It's like you're choosing it with a whole heart, knowing full well that you will get sucked into it again. But now, I'm choosing, Lord, purge me of ego, merge me with you. It's a genuine prayer, and it will be answered. In fact, it's answered before you even call. It's the prayer you have, you don't even know you have, that inspired you to make the choice in the first place. Can't get away from this, folks. Right? You're all destined for enlightenment, and nothing you can do about it. Thank you, Jesus, Mary. I love our Sundays and satsangs. Amen. So do I. I'm reminded, Kensho, I'm reminded with something you said a long time ago, being present, something along the lines of, whatever I'm doing right now, I do it as if my life depended on it. It helps a lot. Yeah, make this the moment. Right? Because remember, enlightenment is not an event in the future. Self-realization cannot be an event that happens in the future, because then it would be just another event that comes and goes, wouldn't it? And it wouldn't be worth seeking. Wouldn't be worth looking towards. It's got to be happening now. So our attention looks to now. It's here now. Self-realization is here now. So when I give my attention to what I'm doing right this moment, I am being the true self. I'm embodying it. Even if my mind says I'm not, it doesn't matter. My heart is devoting itself to this moment. And yes, there will be all sorts of momentum to habit behaviors that want to pull you into the past and into the future. But wait, enlightenment, we're going to do this and get enlightened. It's not there. And you say, thank you for sharing. But right now, right this moment, I'm just going to be present with this moment, because what else do I have, right? Is this going to be the enlightenment? All I know is that right now, this is here. I give myself to it. What else can I do? What else can I do? I leave all the rest of this to take care of itself. I'm just right here. I'm going to embody as best I can the love of God, being present with that love right here with this. However insignificant, mundane, or boring, or painful it may be. Ida! Heart and prayer to you, too. Amen to the clean white shirt. I gotta go visit Gia and Sean. Maybe we could all go on a hike. That'd be great. And Mary's ready to join. Beautiful experience. I've experienced it. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. Yay! My heart is so ready. Yes, it is. So now don't say, it's so ready, come. Just like, that's it. What else can you do? Right? What else can you do? Really think about it. There's a point at which you go, just, thank you. Thank you. What else can you do? Remember that quote that I absolutely love from Balyani, the Sufi mystic. God takes the last step on the journey that never happened. As Muji says, it's really saying the same thing. The one who starts the inquiry does not finish the inquiry, but is finished by the inquiry. And in fact, the words from Papaji that were the catalyst that took Muji to enlightenment was, Muji was sitting, actually on film, it got caught on film, him sitting in front of Papaji, Babaji reading his letter, saying how he wanted to know God. It's a long letter, too. Wanted to know God. And Papaji said to him, if you want to know God, you must disappear. Same thing. So take that into your hearts, everyone. By grace, we are saved, and that not that of ourselves. Yeah. So, yeah, I got that, Jay. Yeah, your heart is ready. Yeah, absolutely. Right? So, just be present. Whatever comes up, right? Just give it to God. Give it to God. Give it to God. Give it to God. You'll know when to inquire. Right? Something go. Wait a minute. Is this a sense of identity there? Ah, yes, I see it. Who's that I that sees it? Right? See, they go hand in hand, right? Because God taking the last step, right, doesn't mean you're not there. Right? The last step being, merge me with you, replace me with you. I disappear, and there's nothing but the allness and the oneness of God. That's it. And this is all a part of the yielding to it, right? And the my heart is ready. Okay, who's that my? Who's the I whose heart is ready? Because even that's seen, isn't it? You're aware of that. I'm just laughing. Oh, I can feel Mary going, oh, yeah, you're aware of that too, aren't you? Aware of all of it. Who's that? Who's that? And on that note, I will call it for today. I'm not hearing any yelling or anything. The Seahawks game must be over. All right. Let's let it go for today. If anything feels unanswered, just take the question and just take that feeling. Just kind of give it over. All of our questions, all of our real desires are prayers. And prayer isn't from you to some being out there whose favor you have to win. It is just the yearning of our hearts to go home, back to who we are. So, thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all have the link. I'll put it up there one more time. School.ca/. Oh, jeez, come on. School.ca/sangha. Love to have you all come join us at the sangha. I don't want to have 1 million people in there, although it would certainly make for more comfortable living, and I could actually get a team of people to me do this. But if I get so many people that I can't handle it all, and give everybody attention, well, I'll some other times available. So I'll figure out how to do it. But there's room for all. Okay, all my loves. Until next time. Namaste.